Hello friends, and welcome to Escaping the Mouse with your host, me, Bruck Roll. Alright, it's still the end of February. It's way too early to get going on the garden, but it's a really nice day out today, and what I want to do is get some early prep work done. Every year when I put a garden in, I always have to raise the soil up a little bit. It's kind of still settling a little bit each year, and I got to do that again this year. I have decided that this year I'm going to do tomatoes again, and I'm going to do some jalapeno peppers again, but somebody suggested on the live stream potentially doing some strawberries, and honestly that sounds like a good idea too, so I might try a little bit of that. But primarily right now I want to prepare a little bit for the tomatoes. I've had a problem with the tomatoes in the past. Not that that they haven't grown well, because I've had good success with the tomatoes, but the problem is with tomatoes, you got to put them on, they're on a vine, and the vine can get very long, so you need some sort of a trellis or something for the tomatoes to grow on, or else they end up laying on the ground, and the tomatoes grow on the ground, and the rodents get them, and the bugs get them, and I don't get them, and that's not a good thing. Now, I've got these little curlicue things I've used in the past that are about 4 feet long, and that's good for starting, but the problem is the vines are longer than 4 feet, and what ends up happening is the vine goes up, hits the end of the curlicue thing, and then goes back down and lays on the ground. What I want to do is develop some sort of an elevated trellis kind of thing above the garden. We'll use the curlicues as supports, but then we're going to connect this trellis thing to the top of it so that the tomatoes can lay on top of that and be above the ground and hang down. I'm hoping that's going to give me better results. Let me show you where we are. Oh yeah, and look who's up and about. It's 90 degrees out today. Not really surprised at that. Okay, so here are the garden beds themselves. I kind of cleaned them out of everything that was left over in them last weekend. Basically cut it down to nothing. The jalapenos are out. We kind of pulled all the grass out of there because there was some grass growing in there. Few more little sprouts of grass have popped up in the last week. But you can see the dirt level is down about 3 or 4 inches. And that's on both of them. So first thing I want to do, I think, is bring the dirt level back up, and that means going to Home Depot and getting some more bags of soil for this thing. So we're going to start with that, but I'm also going to look at this trellis thing and see if I can figure out some sort of way of doing that. Like I said, I want to use the curlicue things for support to lift the whole thing off the ground, but I got to figure out some way of attaching the trellis above the ground. And like I said, I got to kind of improvise that. They don't have a let's suspend a trellis above the ground kind of thing at Home Depot. It's going to be something I'm going to have to figure out myself. But we're going to go to Home Depot first, and let's see where that leads us. I am happy to say that all my berries that I planted a few weeks ago are still alive, at least on some level. There's a very little bit of green down there. So, I don't know, hopefully we'll get some berries in 5 or 10 years. We'll see. Okay, I'm back from Home Depot. I got about 10 bags of soil. I think that's probably going to be enough. I'll put 5 in each one of them, and that's going to bring the soil level up. But I think the first thing I want to do, at least in this one, there's a lot of like grass shoots going on in here, and I think I want to get in here with a rake and try and pull this stuff up, because I don't want to be burying all this and have this just pop up and have this well-established root stuff that's really deep down that I'd have to deal with later. I think I'd rather get it now. So I'm going to get in here with a rake, kind of pull this all out, get everything loose, and then we'll pour the new dirt on top of it. Alright, we got all the weeds pulled out now, and got 5 new bags of soil into each of the beds and kind of smoothed out, so pretty much that's ready to go now. Next thing I want to do is I want to take these little curlicue things that I've used in the past, and I'm going to kind of position them in this bed right here. Now, usually with tomato plants, they recommend that you plant them about 2 feet apart. I'm actually going to plant them closer together, because the whole reason for planting them 2 feet apart is because they tend to spread. Well, since they're not going to spread as much, they can be a little bit more densely packed on the ground, because I'm going to lay them on top of this trellis on top of it once we get that thing installed. And that will allow me to put more plants in a smaller amount of area, and that kind of makes a little bit of sense. So we're going to try that, see how that works. So I'll let you know what it looks like in just a minute. All right, a little bit more time has passed by, and I've kind of now mapped out where I want everything to be. As I said before, generally what they recommend you do is you keep the plants about 2 feet apart. I'm going to actually have them about 1 foot apart because, as I said before, all of the plants are going to be laying on top of the thing rather than laying on the ground or spreading out around the initial bush. So I think I can pack a whole bunch of them in here, and basically to make sure I get everything kind of spread out the way I want, I've kind of strung a little gardening cord through here, and every place where the cord intersects, I'm going to put one of these curlicue things that I have over there on the wall, and that will provide the support for the trellis that will hold the tomatoes up hopefully this summer. I'm going to put those in the ground now. I'll show you what that looks like. Alright, so we got the spikes in the ground basically where they're going to be. I'm going to pull up the strings right now, and then we're going to attach the cross member pieces, which will become the trellis that the whole tomato plant will rest on. What I'm going to do is I've got these little plastic stakes over here that I picked up. They should hold up. They're actually metal, but they're like coated with plastic, and I'm literally just going to use cable ties and attach them to these cross pieces in all the directions here, and I think that's going to do a good job providing a platform for these plants to rest on this summer. I don't know, like I said, you're probably some people watching this right now saying, why are you wasting your time on this? There's this pre-made product that does this already for you. But whatever, I'm kind of a person that does things my own way, and you know what, it's not necessarily, I'm not doing this to grow food to survive. I'm doing it because it's kind of interesting, and I like kind of making it my own. So if this isn't the right way of doing it, you know, so be it. This is a journey, not a destination. So we'll keep working on this and see what works and what doesn't work. But anyway, let's put the cross member pieces on, and we'll see what that looks like. Alright, a little bit more time has passed, and I've got the platform assembled now. Now you kind of see what it was that I was thinking all along here. We'll plant one tomato bush at the base of each one of the little curlicue things, so the bush will grow up to the top here, and then when it gets to the top, it can just lay down on top of this platform, and this will keep it off the ground. I was also thinking a couple other things that's going to make watering a little bit more efficient too, because one of the things that happens is when the tomato bushes start getting a little bit too bushy, it prevents the water from getting to other parts of the bush, because the sprinkler heads are out here on the corner, and so if you get a big bushy thing right here, you're not going to get as much water to that one over there and that one over there. This way, by keeping the base of it more or less free, we'll be able to get a lot better water coverage. It also occurred to me when I was putting this thing up, if we have really hot days, that I would be able to put a cover on top of this thing and maybe protect things a little bit better, because you all know it can get pretty hot here in the summer, and that's usually when tomatoes do their best work. So I think pretty much we've wrapped this video up today. This is pretty much what I had in mind with the thing. I was hoping I would be able to maybe get some, like a trellis like I have over there against the wall, or even some of that grid rebar stuff that they use for, light concrete work and stuff like that. But I looked at that, and that was rusty already in the store, and I figured now I gotta have something that's gonna hold up to the elements. So we improvised with this. I think this is gonna work pretty well. I'm looking forward to seeing what happens. One of the things I think somebody mentioned is that I can maybe get a little bit more growth tomato wise and a little bit less vine wise if once the plants get to a certain length, I cut them off. And at that point it stops growing and hopefully just starts producing tomatoes. So we may do that too, especially if I'm going to have this many tomato plants in the ground. We're not going to want to have a 5-foot thick canopy of tomato bush on top of this thing. So we'll probably have to control it a little bit, but that will come later on this season. For now, though, I think we've wrapped up our project for today. So I want to thank you as always for watching, and I'll see you next time on Escaping the Mouse. Good night.